Hey everybody, welcome back to the Nerds from the Underground YouTube channel. I am co-host at Chaz Simons. I'm very excited. I'm bringing you my picks of the week this week. I've got 5 exciting titles to bring you. Let's start it off with a brand new number 1. This one's from Aftershock Comics. It's Miles to Go. It's by B. Clay Moore and Stephen Molnar. I was really excited for this one. It's a sort of a assassin on the run book about a mother and daughter. And it was really, really cool. There's a lot of action, there's a little bit of conspiracy elements, and a really cool bit of back matter at the end. And I always kind of like when universes are fleshed out in sort of those non-traditional ways, a little bit more of that back matter. But the story is essentially about a former teen assassin whose mentor is murdered, and she realizes that she might be the next target and now has to go on the run with her daughter. So it's a very exciting story with a little bit of that maternal love and protection instinct kicking in, but also the dangers of these rogue government programs. So if you like sort of the action and the slow build of conspiracies, then check this one out. Miles to Go by Aftershock Comics. Another number 1 that I was very excited for because I'm a big fan of the video games is Hotline Miami number 1. This one's from Behemoth Comics, who I mentioned previous week about Cardinal Dagon. But this one was really, really cool. It's by Federico Cimello, Maurizio Ferrini, and Alberto Masiaga. This is a really cool adaptation of a very mysterious and not very, I won't say not very plot heavy game, but not the most apparent plot heavy game. So this book really kept the surreal vibe, the crazy color scheme, and the action of the video game while not feeling like a imitation or ripoff of the video game. It was still just as mysterious, but still just as compelling to follow. This one's really neat. Behemoth is definitely becoming a publisher that's on my radar a lot more often now with these 2 recent hits and some of the other stuff, like I mentioned previously, that have been referred to me by them. So definitely put those guys on your radar. Check this one out. If you like the game, the only thing that's missing from this book is the soundtrack, but I just threw that on Spotify and it made the book 10 times better. But it was really, really cool and very, very interesting. The art, just wild. The colors still there because it's a game that's just drenched in neon, and this had a similar just crazy color scheme. So check this one out. Hotline Miami by Behemoth Comics. Third one, another number 1. This one's coming to us from Vault. It's Autumnal number 1 by Daniel Kraus and Chris Sheehan. This one was really cool. I want to describe it as like a rural horror or a American small town midsummer. So it's definitely got a very interesting horror vibe. It's about a woman and her daughter who have to go back home to settle her mother's affairs. She doesn't have a great relationship with her mother, so when she finds out that she's passed and the house is left to her, she's not very eager to head back there, but certain troubles in her life lead her to think maybe this is the chance to either start anew or get a little bit of money to start somewhere fresh, somewhere else. Once they actually hit the small town, though, it becomes apparent that there's something sinister underneath the beauty of autumn. This book was super lush as far as colors and the choice of palette goes. Definitely felt like I was in a small New England town during autumn, while also keeping the subtle creeping horror of what small town life is like for some of us big city outsiders. So they say that you can't go home again, and in Autumnal number 1, we find out why that's definitely true sometimes. So if you're interested in floral horror, as I like to call it, or rural horror, definitely throw this one on there. I know it was going fast at a lot of shops. I know a second print is already in the works, so if you missed it, make sure to tell your LCS or wherever you get your comics that you're very interested in it and that you want to check it out. Autumnal number 1 from Vault Comics. Thumbs up. So these next 2 are not number 1s, but they are favorites of mine. They've been running for a little while. First up, Undiscovered Country number 8 continued just the real wild version of America that Scott Snyder, Charles Soule, and Giuseppe Camicoli have presented for us. If you're unfamiliar with this title, it's by Image Comics, and it's about a America that has walled itself off, literally, from the rest of the world for the last 30 years. In that time, there's this strange virus that is affecting the rest of the outside world, and they get a message that says, we have the cure here in America. We want this team of people, this select group, to come in and get it. Once they get in there, it's anything but the America we know. And it's almost like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory in a way. Just insane, crazy looking monsters, people, ideas, everything you can imagine, just amplified and multiplied by 10. It's been divided up into these 13 zones. They've moved from the first zone, Destiny, into the new zone, Unity. And I'm really excited to see what these other zones bring, because Unity is nothing like the previous zone. And their exploration of some of the ideas and what makes that part of the country, I guess, the zone now, tick, I'm really excited to learn. The mysteries are only deepening. It almost feels like that scene in Pee-wee's Big Adventure about a big cable knit sweater. Every time I get an answer, there's another question, and I just keep unraveling, but somebody, Snyder, so just keep knitting and knitting and knitting. So if you're interested in speculative fiction about what could be if America decided to close its borders for 30 years and enact some really wild science fiction plans, then check out Undiscovered Country. Number 8 this week is the second part of the new arc and was very, very good. The art is beautiful, strikingly desolate in this one, but also full of life and energy. He really plays around, chemically really plays around with the trees in this one, and you'll see what I mean. But it's terrifying and beautiful all at once. And then my final pick is from the Black Hammer universe. It's Skulldigger and Skeleton Boy number 4 by Jeff Lemire and Tansy Zonjic. This book is awesome. Everything from Black Hammer is amazing. This one is almost like a Batman meets Punisher, as Skulldigger, a very brutal vigilante who dispatches criminals with a giant metal skull on a really sweet chain, has brought under his wing a orphaned young man whose parents were murdered by a crime he couldn't stop. So it's got the Batman and Robin elements, but much, much more brutal. This issue is the return after a long break due to all the COVID shutdowns. So I was very eager to pick up the next issue because number 3 ended on a serious cliffhanger. Number 4, the second to last part, I believe, I think it's a 5-part miniseries, was no exception. Just extra brutal, extra wild. It's got all sorts of little bits of the Black Hammer history and universe that he's been building up, all spread throughout it. So if you like your heroes in ways that you've never seen them before, if you like them reimagined, if you want to see what could be if maybe some of those bigger companies took their hands off the creative wheel a bit, then the Black Hammer universe is for you. And if you're interested in a violent vigilante and his young ward, then don't miss Skulldigger and Skeleton Boy, which is on issue number 4 right now. 1, 2, and 3 had come out prior to the shutdown, so those might be a little bit harder to come by if you haven't yet. But the graphic novel should be right around the corner. So definitely check this out. Can't recommend the Black Hammer universe enough. There's no bad title in the bunch. And those are my picks of the week. Those are my 5 books that I really enjoyed, and I hope that you do too. Make sure that you stay tuned to this YouTube channel, as we'll be adding way more crazy content to it basically every week, hopefully. Not just these picks of the week, but we'll be doing deep dives into titles. We'll be examining some of our favorites, trying to break down what makes us tick, I guess. And if you have any recommendations or if you have any suggestions, definitely leave them in the comments or tweet at us at nerdsfrom and let us know. We're always open to it, and we want to make it better and better for y'all. So thanks for checking us out. My name, again, is at Chaz Simons on Twitter. And we'll see you next time. Bye.